You've assumed your shadow is harmless, but it's actually a predator. Have you ever held perfectly still, but seen your shadow move? Just a flicker, a tiny, impossible twitch in the corner of your eye. You tell yourself it's nothing, tired eyes, a trick of the light, but you can't quite shake the feeling that you aren't the only one in control of your own silhouette. You've always thought of your shadow as a simple, two-dimensional follower. You were wrong. This is my last will and testament, as me. I have to tell you the truth. Your shadow isn't your companion. It's a predator, and it is very, very patient. Section 1. The flicker of wrongness. It all started about 3 weeks ago. Look, I'm a rational person, or I used to be. I know how shadows work. A shadow is an absence of light, a projection. It's not a thing. It doesn't have mass or a mind. It's just a spot where you're blocking the light. That's the science of it. The truth I held on to like a shield. But that shield has been shattered. The first time, I was brushing my teeth, just staring at myself in the mirror. My arm was moving in that mindless, rhythmic circle, and I saw it, in the reflection, my shadow on the wall behind me. Its arm moved a split second before mine did, a tiny, jarring lead. I stopped, my heart suddenly pounding in the quiet bathroom. I held my arm perfectly still, just staring at that dark shape on the wall. It was still too. A perfect, motionless copy. I had to laugh at myself. It was nothing. The hum of the fluorescent bulb, the steam in the air, a flutter of my own eyelids. There were a dozen logical explanations. A shadow can't act on its own. It's a fundamental law of reality. I chalked it up to being tired and forgot about it. But then it happened again. A few days later, I was reading in my favorite chair, holding the book in my hands. I saw the shadow of my hand on the wall turn a page that wasn't there. A silent, slow pantomime in the dim lamplight. This time, there was no mirror, no flickering bulb to blame. Just me, the lamp, and the wall. And the cold, creeping feeling that something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. I spent the rest of that night with every light in the house blazing, trying to convince myself I wasn't losing my mind. I kept repeating it like a prayer. Shadows are just an absence of light. They can't think. They can't move on their own. Section 2. The pattern of malice. The flickers became patterns, and the patterns felt like practice. In the third week, the real horror set in. I started keeping a journal, desperate to track what was happening, to prove to myself I wasn't going insane. Reading the entries now, they sound like the ravings of a madman. Tuesday. Walked down the hallway. My shadow, cast long in front of me, turned its head to look back at me. Its head. My silhouette turned on my body. I froze and it snapped back into place. For 3 solid seconds, my own outline was watching me. Thursday. Cooking dinner. While I chopped vegetables, I saw my shadow's hand on the cabinet mimicking the motion, but its fingers were longer, sharper, like claws. It was like it was practicing a better, more predatory version of me. I had this impossible, terrifying feeling of being studied. I knew with a certainty that defied all logic, that my shadow was learning from me. It wasn't just mirroring me anymore. It was rehearsing, perfecting. The way I walked, the way I tilted my head, the way I held my coffee mug, its mimicry became flawless, too flawless. It moved with a precision I don't even have, capturing not just what I did, but the intent behind it. It felt like it could read my mind. How can a shadow read your thoughts? It's just Nothing. Thoughts are electricity in your brain, not some trick of the light. But I could feel it, a cold intelligence tethered to my heels. I couldn't tell anyone. Who could I tell? My friends would have called a psychiatrist. My family would have said I needed a long vacation. I think my shadow is alive and plans to replace me. The words themselves are insane. So I said nothing. I just watched and I wrote, and the feeling of being prey grew with every single sunset. Section 3. The deepening dread. Then it started to break the rules. Not just my rules, but the rules of physics. The shadow was no longer just a projection. It was starting to affect the world around it. The air would grow cold where it fell. The light from my bedside lamp seemed to dim whenever my shadow stretched across the floor, as if it were a hole in reality, actively drinking the light. I know that's not how light works. It doesn't get consumed by darkness. It's either there or it isn't. But I saw it. The lamp would dull, and my shadow on the wall would grow darker, richer, more substantial. The real terror came when it started to untether itself. One evening, I was in the kitchen. I glanced into the living room and saw it. My shadow. It was just standing in the middle of the room, cast by a light source that wasn't there. I was 30 feet away, under a different light. Yet there it was, my perfect silhouette, standing motionless where I was not. It slowly turned its head, and I felt its gaze from across the house. Then, it just dissolved. I fell into a deep paranoia. I started to fear the light, the very thing that was supposed to keep me safe. Every lamp, every window was just another stage for it to appear, to watch me, to practice. I started seeking out the dark, sitting in unlit rooms, hoping that with no light, there could be no shadow. But the darkness was no comfort. In the pitch black, I felt it even more strongly. A cold, patient presence just waiting for its moment. It wasn't just biding its time anymore. It was getting ready. I started searching for answers, for anything that could explain this. I spent my nights digging through the deepest corners of the internet, reading ancient folklore and forgotten myths. In some cultures, the shadow was the soul's twin. In others, losing your shadow meant you were already dead. I'm putting this out there because I have to know if I'm the only one. If you've ever felt that same chill, that impossible movement in your peripheral vision, please say something. You need to understand what I believe is happening to me tonight. You need to be prepared for what's coming. Section 4. The confrontation. I'm writing this now from my bedroom. The sun is down. I know with a chilling certainty that this is the night. The practice is over. The only light is the faint glow from my laptop screen. On the wall opposite me, it's waiting. It's darker than any shadow I've ever seen. It's not just a gray patch on the wall. It's a void, an utter blackness that seems to suck the very texture from the drywall behind it. It's my shape, but perfect. Still. As I type these words, it's starting to move. It's not sliding along the wall. It's peeling. Like old paint, the edges are lifting away. A soundless tear in the fabric of my room. It's detaching itself. A two-dimensional shape slowly, impossibly, gaining a third dimension. It's a man-shaped hole in the world, a silhouette of pure absence given form. It stands there, a figure made of nothing, and it is the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. It turns its featureless head toward me. I'm not screaming. I'm not running. It's too late for that. A strange, cold resignation has washed over me. For weeks, I've been the animal in the predator's cage. Now the gate is open, It takes a step, silent, off the wall and onto the floor. It moves toward my bed. Each step is fluid, confident. It has practiced this walk 1,000 times. My walk. Conclusion. The lingering dread. It's leaning over me now. There's no face to see, no eyes to meet. There is only the cold. It's a hollowing feeling, a gentle but absolute draining. I can feel my substance, my weight, my identity being siphoned away. It isn't painful. It's an erasure. I'm becoming lighter, flatter, thinner. My world is flattening, my body a numb outline. I look at my hands and they're turning translucent, fading into the dark shape that now stands where I was. And then, it's done. The shape stands up. It's solid now. It looks down at my hands, and it flexes the fingers. It rolls its shoulders. It takes a breath. It looks in the mirror and sees my face, my tired, terrified face. But the fear is gone from the eyes. There's only a cool, calm intelligence. It's the new host. It walks to the door, opens it, and steps out into the world, casting no shadow, because it is the shadow. And I am here, on the wall, an absence, tethered to him. I flicker and stretch as he moves, a silent, two-dimensional prisoner. So the next time you're alone and you see your shadow twitch, ask yourself, is it just a trick of the light? Or is it me, screaming, trying to warn you?